Read slowly, softly. I would like to tell you a story that unfolds like a slow, warm evening. A story of small happenings and great quiet truths drawn from an old collection of tales. Imagine a large, well-loved book resting on a bedside table, its pages slightly soft from many readings. The lamp by the bed throws an amber pool of light. Outside, the world is folding itself in. Here, in that gentle circle of light and shadow, begins the story I have for you, an evening's counsel. A sleepy procession of fables and small lessons, woven together so your mind may drift with ease. Tonight we travel not in a hurry, but at a measured pace, like a slow turning of a page. We meet creatures and people with simple wants and complex hearts. We will wander through quiet fields where the grass bends under the night, across narrow bridges spanning gentle streams, and into small kitchens where the glow of a hearth is enough to make the whole house feel safe. Each little scene is a cluster of small, warm truths. The comfort of prudence, the sting of ingratitude, the gentle victory of patience, and the simple beauty of being content with what you have. First, the picture of a soft, late summer evening. Near a small hill, a field of wheat whispers to the wind. An old shepherd, a gentle, slow-moving man who has lived long with the rhythm of seasons, sits in the shade of an oak. He has a simple, unhurried life. A neighbor complains that he should be doing more, making plans, chasing wealth, thinking of tomorrow. The shepherd looks up with a small smile and asks quietly, "What will you have me do with all the days I still have?" He tends his flock, rests when the sun is hot, and hums to himself. In his calm, there is a lesson, contentment that steadies a restless heart. Not far away, a hare lies awake and frets at every sound. A leaf stirs, and his heartbeat quickens. He watches the pond and believes himself brave because his shadow frightens another. But in that frantic watchfulness, he proves how easily fear can turn a quiet life into an anxious one. The contrast between the shepherd's ease and the hare's unease is quiet, not harsh, and it asks you softly, which voice in you needs to be soothed tonight, the dreamer who longs to gather more, or the one who needs permission to settle, to breathe, to sleep? There's a small farm where a woman carries a pot of milk on her head to market, her pockets neat, her steps purposeful. In her mind, she already counts what she will buy. Eggs, a small chick, a hopeful plan for the future. The world loves to tempt us with bright plans, and sometimes, while we count the income of tomorrow, we forget to protect the fragile cup of today. Even so, she goes along with a light heart until a careless step sends the pot tumbling. The milk splashes, white and warm, across the stones, and the dream dissolves. She bends to retrieve what she can, but she knows already what we all learn at some time. Plans are beautiful, and chance is patient. The lesson is gentle, tend the present, for it is all we truly hold tonight. on another lane, two friends meet, one full of bright, restless ideas about traveling far and finding fortune. The other smiles and says he will be content to wait at home. The traveler goes to distant harbors and returns exhausted, disillusioned by costly shores and empty promises. The friend who stayed waits by his door, keeps a loaf of bread, tends his garden, and knows the small, steady comforts of home. When the traveler learns his lesson and returns, tired, there is no blame, only relief. It is a calm reminder that there are many ways to find peace, either by seeking or by settling, both honest and slow, as bread rising in the oven. We come to a quiet brook where small birds once ignored a swallow who warned them of the danger of a field sown in hemp that would one day be nets and snares. She begged them to destroy the seeds in the early green time. They laughed and sang and left the field. Later, the nets that grew from that grain cost many of the birds their freedom. The swallow had been precise and steady in her care for the future. In this soft tale, there is no sharp accusation, only the quiet sorrow that comes when advice, gentle and wise, is left unheeded. Not far from the brook, under a broad pear tree, the thrush sings. He had been cherished by the house because his song brought morning into a room and warmed a heart. But a watchful cat who keeps a pleasant face is a quiet danger. The thrush and the small birds move their nest higher to avoid the cat's subtle claws. In doing so, they learn new songs, songs formed by being tested and then surviving. The thrush's voice grows deeper, richer, and sweeter, not in spite of hardship, but because of it. The story yields a soft joy. Change can deepen. Small difficulties can open the way to new, beautiful things. Here is a small, very gentle parable about honesty. A father tells his two sons that at the bottom of the family well, there are two treasures, one gold and one richer still. The one they can fish with a hook, the other requires only a look. The boys lean over the clear water and see their faces looking back at them. They choose to be truthful, and in that, whether they find gold or not, they gain the richer prize, the quiet strength of honesty. It's a lesson told in slow rhythm, a lullaby of integrity. In a nearby copse, the fox and the raven enact an old scene. The raven, proud of his black, glossy feathers, holds a piece of cheese. The fox flatters him into showing off his voice, and the cheese falls. The raven's cheeks are warm with embarrassment. The fox tucks the prize under his paw and offers a small, dry lesson about the danger of flattering words. It is not sharp or biting, but enough to remind us that praise can sometimes be dishonest, especially when it wants to change what you are doing. A gentle breeze carries the smell of wood smoke and the laughter of neighbors as two mules walk the road. One bears oats, the other a jingling load of money. A bandit leaps into the road and takes what he will. The proud mule with the heavy load is wounded. The quiet, humble laborer is spared. The lesson, simple and kind, asks whether lives of ease are worth a greater danger. It smiles and lets you answer without insisting. There is a hollow, carved long ago in a standing tree. An eagle has a nest at the top, a sow lives in the root, and a cat in between. The cat sows seeds of fear, gossip that the sow is digging to undermine the nest. The eagle and the sow, each fearful, stay at home and watch over their young without hunting or foraging, and together they starve. The cat's mischief has led to ruin. This story is as soft as an exhale and as grave as a night watch. Fright can be more cruel than any immediate danger. Often the rumor and fear itself do the harm. The quiet moral is to notice the small voices that stir trouble and to ask gently whether panic is necessary. When the night falls over the field and the morning star begins to fade, a small rooster stands on a branch. A fox, all silver-tongued and sleek, says there is peace in the land and asks the rooster to come down and seal it with a greeting. The rooster hesitates. He can sense that words can be snares. He waits until he hears the hounds and then laughs at the trickster. A final, sleepy comfort is to be found in the rooster's knowing caution. To grant your trust carefully is to keep your morning. There is a garden tended by a kindly gardener who keeps his little domain. Once, a group of hunters come at dawn with horses and hounds and trample every carefully planted bed. The Lord takes what he wants, showing how easy it is for those with power to forget the smaller rights of those who care for their land. The gardener returns to the ruins of a path, to the soil mashed and the herbs torn. He will replant slowly, like a singer repairing a broken verse. This story is not bitter. It is steady and small, offering a soft resilience. In the hush between stories, we can find a small crow of comfort. A dog once carried his master's dinner on his neck and passed a pack of other dogs. He shared his treasure with them until the last crumb was gone. The message is gentle. Generosity is quiet courage, and sometimes the smallest of hearts keeps the largest of trusts. Another tale invites the hush that wraps the bed. An old oak, tall and proud, boasts to a reed that it is stronger than any storm. The reed bows and bends and survives the fiercest winds until the proud oak, stiff and unbending, is finally uprooted. The reed survives. So this night's counsel softens into the idea that flexibility often keeps you safe, while rigid pride can cause collapse. Take that thought and let it warm the back of your neck like a small collar of peace. As you sink deeper into comfort, imagine a soft, slow procession of more tender vignettes. A raven wants to wear the eagle's call or the peacock's tail, and the peacock wants the nightingale's song. Juno reminds the peacock gently that each creature is chosen to have its own gifts. The lesson is not about envy, but about acceptance, about seeing how your gifts, however simple, are yours to tend and celebrate. There is a thoughtful, subdued fable of a farmer who buried his fortune in the ground and kept visiting the spot like a watchful, lonely bird. One day the money is gone, and though someone points out that he could simply keep his savings in a safer place, The man mourns loudly, because in hoarding he forgot to live. The night hush brings us that small, persistent question. What would you like to hold for tomorrow? And what should be spent now in warmth and bread? A swimmer's story follows, soft as a tide. Two fishermen find a tiny fish, and the little fish begs for a reprieve. He dreams of growing to a prize. The fisherman shakes his head and says quietly, and then simply, I fry what I can get. It is not cruel, it is plain, practical. There is a gentle, wistful recognition in the fisherman's words. We often must do what is possible today instead of clinging to uncertain promises. Across the span of these small tales, a pattern forms. The best advice is rarely loud, and the most useful courage is quiet. The tales do not throw stones, they light small candles. They remind you, in their softest tones, of a few simple things. Be careful how you flatter and how you believe. Be gentle with your promises. Be humble with your strengths. And when fear stirs, ask kindly whether action is necessary or simply a ripple of noise. Imagine now that you feel a sleepy comfort you're breathing deeper, each thought slowing like a river, reaching a wide and calm delta. The stories slow with you. There is a fox who pretends to be a wolf. He borrows a wolf's skin and roams with borrowed authority until his tail gives him away. The lesson is softly reassuring. If you have pretenses, you will eventually return to a simpler truth. Sleep does the same for us. It removes the false fronts and leaves everything quiet and honest. A few more gentle pictures. A dove rescues an ant and is later saved by the same tiny creature. A lion offers the nobles his friendship, only to be humbled by an ant's tiny determination. A fisherman learns again and again that what you have in the hand is sweeter than wishes for tomorrow. The world here is not a place of harsh drama. It is a place of gentle instruction and slow redemption. There are musical moments at the end of some of these tales. A shepherd plays a flute for his beloved, and an unhearing fish cannot be coaxed by melody alone. The stories do not judge the musician as foolish. They suggest that sometimes the music we play is for ourselves. Let your own small contentments be your lullabies tonight, things like a favorite memory of a day in sun, a quiet story, the warmth of a blanket. Near the end of the night, consider the simplest of scenes. A small family of mice debates how to hang a bell on a cat. They agree it's a brilliant idea until they discover they cannot be the ones to hang the bell. The idea is soft and ironic. Many plans are easy to imagine, harder still to do. The bell remains a gentle reminder that ideas are good company for the night. But real courage is quiet and practical. Finally, the last picture before sleep. A slow, kind ripple of words about gentleness and endurance. All creatures, in their small ways, live by the same rules of the heart. The fox, the sparrow, the old man and the village, the shepherd's gentle hand, they all whisper the same soft counsel. Be humble, be honest, be ready to bend with the wind. Carry what you can now and leave the rest to morning. As your eyes grow heavier and your breath eases, rest with one small, soft thought. Be kind and take small comforts as great gifts. Let your evenings be gentle. Let your dreams be quiet. Let your sleep repair the edges of the day. And if you would like, I can come back tomorrow night with another small set of tales, moving slowly through the old book in the bedside lamp's warm glow. For now, let the hush of the room carry you into sleep, and let the stories you've heard tonight become parts of the softest dreams. Good night.